The bull run is fundamentally over. This video, I'm going to bring factual information about the crypto cycle, why I believe the dormant BTC wallets have put an end to this crypto bull run, and most importantly, what that means for XRP, and how you can protect your wealth and still make money despite the downtrend. I'm going to structure this video in 3 different sections. Number 1, I'm going to bring to the screen crypto charts. We're going to analyze together. I'm going to break down why I do believe we are entering the beginning of the bear market. Number 2, we're going to see the mistakes and lessons to be learned on this cycle. Number 3, how you can protect your wealth and still make money. And most importantly, what's going to happen to XRP's price. So stick to the end of this video. I have been through a lot in the last couple of months. That's why I have been absent from this channel, but I have been doing research on the background. Yes, my X account is still suspended, but that's a topic for another video. I want to tell you the full story. I have not decided if that's going to be a live streaming or if I'm going to make an entire separated video where I'm going to break down everything that has happened. It has been a nightmare. But right now, let's stick to the fundamentals. Let's stick with facts and what's important. Let's focus on crypto. So let's get started. Well, here we have Bitcoin charts on the screen, and you can see this massive red candle here that broke the entire structure. That's the largest liquidation event in history and something that has been overlooked by the majority of content creators. Well, the first lesson to be learned looking at this liquidation event that happened around 2 weeks ago is that we have extremely thin order books. So it makes it very easy for the big players to manipulate the markets. Hence why I made several videos in the past. If you haven't watched, I recommend you to watch my last 2 videos about the dormant Satoshi era coins that would flood the markets, and that's exactly what's playing out. What we are seeing right now is that millions of Satoshi era coins flood the markets whenever Bitcoin approaches a new all-time high. They need retail's liquidity to cash out those coins that were mined back in 2011. Well, that's very clear. Extremely thin order books translate to less participants in the markets, and ultimately that means that there is no one bidding these coins. And not talking only about Bitcoin chart, I'm talking about the whole crypto markets. This apparently has been a synthetic bull run. From the beginning of this bull run, there has been less active participants in the market, which results in less liquidity, extremely thin order books, low liquidity, and fewer active participants in the market are clear signs that the hype of this cycle has ended. Actually, it has never fully started. Look for the majority of coins. They are sitting at bear market levels, despite the fact that Bitcoin is still above $100,000. When Trump made that announcement on Truth Social about the tariffs against China, you had a few minutes to understand that the markets were entering a critical condition. In fact, it took a few minutes here before BTC lost these important support levels. So what you see here on the chart, 117,000, this yellow line here you see on the screen, that was an important key level for Bitcoin. Once Trump has made the announcement on Truth Social about the US tariffs against China, traders had a few minutes to actually close their long positions. That was a clear indicator markets were about to drop. And what happened minutes later was part of history. Bitcoin actually lost the 117,000 that was acting as a long-term support level if you zoom out. So this is the first important lesson. We have to be watching for Bitcoin to reclaim 117,000 before we can invalidate any of the bearish claims. I personally don't believe that's going to happen. Then we have this other substantial level here that's 112,000. That's also something that we want Bitcoin to hold. There is, however, a number 2 key level that you have to be paying attention, and that's about psychologically $100,000, but from the TA perspective, it's about $99,500 for BTC. Bitcoin is to lose the $99,500 here, this yellow line, that's 1,000% over. You can actually get rid of most of your crypto because it's going to be catastrophic. Now in crypto, anything can happen. Everything is possible. We can never rule out a scenario. Tomorrow we can wake up to Bitcoin at $150,000 because Donald Trump made a new announcement. I want you to understand we are playing with probability. That's very unlikely to happen. But remember, this is crypto, and just like 2 weeks ago, the largest liquidation event in the history of crypto was also very unlikely, yet it has happened. Now, if you ask me, do you think that's going to happen? I don't think so. I am much more bearish right now than I am bullish. I know you are wondering what's my take on XRP. Are you selling your XRP? And the short answer is no. However, before we get on XRP, there are some key information and also some lessons to be learned from this cycle. Now, entering on the second section of this video, lessons to be learned on this cycle and mistakes that we want to avoid on the future. Well, the first thing is that this is not the time to be overly exposed to crypto. Oh, but you have a crypto channel. You mostly talk about crypto. Yes. However, I have been telling everyone to be overly exposed in crypto 2 or 3 years ago when the price of Bitcoin and the price of XRP was 50 cents and the price of BTC was something between $30,000 and $50,000. Right now is not the moment to be overly diversified in crypto. Avoid unnecessary risk. Set robust stop losses and don't sink together with the majority of the markets. Now, the reason for that is because you want to have liquidity aside. I know everyone has a different financial situation, but I don't like to waste money. I want to buy some of these assets at discounted prices. That's why I have been taking profits on most of my crypto assets. So set liquidity aside for future opportunities and also set buy orders. Remember the importance of having buy orders? I have told in the past, if you guys remember one of my videos, I have said that XRP to drop to 77 cents was something I believed could happen. Guess what? The ones that took action had buy orders, you had a chance of your order being executed on that same day. The markets dropped 60-70%. So always have buy orders. So always expect the unexpected, and that comes with being very careful with leverage. Leverage trading is extremely risky. So my advice is don't ever enter with a cross position. If you use leverage, that's fine. But always go with isolated. Never, ever use cross leverage. We have seen that these exchanges, these market makers, they can easily pull the trigger and liquidate both short positions and long positions. When you over leverage yourself, you are taking risks with your entire portfolio. If your position is liquidated and you are using cross, they're going to use your entire portfolio. Everything you have on the balance is going to be used to cover for your losses. You don't want that to happen. So please, if you use leverage, go for isolated. I recommend small leverage, 2x, 5x, maximum 10x. And I still believe we can make good money by shorting the markets. And yes, I have been making money by shorting the markets. I think that's a huge opportunity. If you want to copy my trades in the future, well, I'm considering to actually make some of my trades public. And the way I have been accomplishing that is by following my rule. I don't overexpose myself. And of course, I'm using isolated. I'm not going for cross. I'm not taking that risk. I think that's a very dumb decision. Now, if you want to join my trades in the future at your own risk, you can always find on the description of this video a link for BTCC Exchange. It's my exchange partner on this channel. And most importantly, what I love about this exchange, you can trade crypto without KYC. That gives you a level of privacy, and it's one of the most trusted exchanges in the entire market. Now, coming back for the main topic of this video, and when using leverage, avoid hyperliquid. I know on theory it sounds very beautiful, on-chain trading. However, avoiding the third parties means no customer service. And also, the wicks are much larger on such platforms. You're going to always have a worse liquidation scenario than on major exchanges, which are already bad sometimes, like Bybit or Binance. Then you're going to have on Hyperliquid. That's much more risky. You want to cut your risks. Now, coming back to XRP and what I expect for the next months. With XRP, we can see it has lost this key resistance level that previously was acting as support. And that puts the chart on a very weak position. I truly believe in the next weeks, XRP can retest this $1.79, actually $1.80 here, the yellow line on the chart. And that means that we can also retest lower levels. Considering the worst scenario, I totally believe XRP can lose $1.80 support level, as you can see here on the yellow line. It's very difficult to make TA on this scenario, and be prepared. I think prepare for both scenarios. If we reclaim $2.80 that invalidates the bearish scenario, I don't think that's going to happen on the short term. However, I want to have a serious talk about XRP. I know how to do technical analysis. However, I'm not a fan of TA. I mean, it can be helpful sometimes, but when we look at statistics, 99% of TA was completely wrong in the last 2-3 years. There is a lesson to be learned. And that's why I am absolutely not selling XRP, because there are external circumstances that TA simply can't spot. One of them for XRP is about the supply shock that is happening right now. So yes, there's a bearish trend for the majority of the markets. However, XRP can always act on its own. And one of the reasons is the supply shock that is happening in front of our eyes. I'm going to make a separated video on the supply shock. I'm actually doing some research on what's happening behind the scenes and why I believe that that's going to be the ultimate reason why XRP is going to decouple from the markets. Now, finally, here is how I believe you can still make profits on this bull run. This is my strategy. I have been reducing my crypto positions. I have sold most of my digital assets and I hold the fundamentals. I can't sleep at night knowing that I sold XRP. I'm sorry, that's me. Everyone has different circumstances. I prefer to just hold XRP. Even if it goes down, I have a much better sleep at night. XRP, XLM, XDC, I truly believe there are a few digital assets you should never sell. Always do your own research. However, this is not a financial advice. However, get rid of the majority of digital assets and wait for further invalidation of the current circumstances. Let's say if BTC reclaims 117,000, yeah, and the crypto markets recover at 20%, well, I prefer in this case to lose at 20%, meaning to buy it higher than to lose 60, 70, 80%. I think there is a very inherent risk on the markets right now. So to make this very clear, I'm not selling the XRP, I'm not selling XLM and a few other digital assets. There is a second strategy that I am following right now. Pay attention to the low market caps, the hidden gems. SHX and Velo, pay attention to the low market caps because they are not inherently correlated with Bitcoin price. So sometimes you can have Bitcoin to go up 10% and these coins can actually spike up 200%. So there's still money to be made trading low market cap, hidden gems. I have told you too, SHX and Velo. I truly believe these are phenomenal opportunities given the current prices. Undervalued assets. And right now, diversification, in my opinion, is the key. Patience. Have some capital aside so you can buy the dips, can increase your positions on the real world utility assets. Precious metals are making a fantastic run, and I think the charts are extremely bullish right now for both gold, silver, and platinum. That can be also a topic for a separated video. I hope this video was clear. I hope you could understand why I'm currently bearish. But remember, this is crypto. Anything can happen at any moment. Things can change. Circumstances can change in the blink of an eye. Tomorrow, one post of Donald Trump on Truth Social can invalidate everything that I say on this video. Unlikely? Yes. Impossible? Absolutely not. However, right now, the charts are bearish. The trend is bearish. The dormant BTC wallets are bearish for the markets, but I am still bullish on XRP. Wanna see you guys in the next video. Done.